Shattered Reps. Chapter 1: Routine and Repetition. Mark Sanders, 38, lived a structured life. Every morning, he woke at 6:30 a.m., brewed his black coffee, and kissed his wife, Emily, before heading out to his job as a real estate attorney in downtown Chicago. He was the type of man who believed in loyalty, discipline, and quiet love. Emily was his college sweetheart, married for 11 years, no children, no major scandals. At least, that's what he believed. Lately, things had changed. Emily had always been stunning: honey blonde hair, piercing hazel eyes, and a fit body she meticulously maintained. But over the past 6 months, she'd taken her fitness obsession to another level. She joined Iron Core, an upscale gym 5 blocks from their condo, and had hired a personal trainer named Jackson. Mark wasn't threatened. He was proud that Emily cared about her health. That's what he told himself. But still, there was something off. She started spending more time away from home. Her phone always had a password now. She laughed more at text messages than at his jokes. When he hugged her, she didn't lean in anymore. He tried asking once, over dinner. "Everything okay, Em?" he asked, cutting into his steak. "You've been distant." She didn't meet his eyes. "I'm just tired. Training is intense. Work's been overwhelming." Mark nodded. He didn't want to press. But inside, something felt like it was beginning to unravel. Chapter 2: The Trainer. Jackson Rhodes was 29. Tanned, muscular, tattooed, a walking fantasy. He was known around Iron Core for turning bored housewives into fitness fanatics. Charismatic, flirty, and emotionally available just enough to make women feel seen. Emily was hooked. What started as a few harmless compliments during sessions became lingering touches. Then came late-night check-ins over text. "You crushed legs today, Em. Proud of you. Wish I was there instead of Mark, huh?" Winking face. It escalated quickly. One evening after a particularly intense training session, Jackson pulled her aside. "You don't seem happy," he said, voice low, hand on her back. She didn't resist. "I'm not," she whispered. The first time they slept together was in the gym's private massage room after hours. It was reckless, raw, and full of a kind of passion Emily hadn't felt in years. Jackson made her feel wanted, alive. And once that line was crossed, there was no going back. Chapter 3: The Unraveling. Mark began to notice more red flags. One night, Emily came home with her hair damp, not from sweat but from a shower. Another night, she slipped and called him Jax while they were making dinner. Then came the ultimate betrayal. Mark's friend, Kevin, was at the same gym. He saw Emily and Jackson kissing in the parking lot. Kevin didn't want to be the messenger, but he couldn't look away. He told Mark. For 2 days, Mark did nothing. He walked around like a ghost, holding on to a sliver of hope that it was a misunderstanding. On the 3rd day, he confronted her. "I know," he said, standing in their bedroom doorway. Emily was brushing her hair. "Know what?" "About Jackson." Her hand froze mid-stroke. "You could have told me you were unhappy, Em. I didn't mean to fall for him," she whispered. "But he sees me, Mark. He listens." Mark's voice cracked. "I listened. You just stopped talking." Chapter 4: Aftermath. Emily moved out a week later. She said she needed space to figure things out. Mark didn't fight her. He didn't have the strength. For weeks, he drowned himself in work and silence. Their condo felt empty, like someone had died. In a way, someone had, the version of Emily he once knew. One afternoon, he visited Iron Core. Not for confrontation, but for clarity. He spotted Jackson across the room, arms wrapped around another woman. Not Emily. Mark didn't say a word. He walked out and never returned. Later that week, Emily called him crying. He was with someone else. "I thought he loved me." Mark didn't gloat. He didn't yell. He just listened. "You left a good man for a good body," he said quietly. Now you know the difference. Chapter 5, New Beginnings. 6 months passed. Mark started therapy. He began running every morning, just for himself. He even started dating again, slowly, cautiously. Trust didn't come easy, but he wasn't broken anymore. Just wiser. Emily reached out once in a while. Regret lived in her voice. I made a mistake, Mark. I know. Do you think we could ever fix things? He paused, heart heavy but firm. I forgave you, Em. But some things can't be fixed. They can only be learned from. Chapter 6, The Price of Passion. Emily moved into a small studio apartment on the north side. The luxury and stability she once had with Mark were replaced by echoing walls and frozen dinners. Her parents didn't take her side. Her friends quietly drifted away, unsure how to support someone who destroyed her own marriage. She called Jackson twice more. The first time, he didn't answer. The second time, he blocked her. The affair, she realized, wasn't love. It was escape, a brief, bright spark that burned too hot and left her with nothing but ash. Nights were the worst. She'd scroll through old photos on her phone, vacations in Maui, their anniversary at the Italian restaurant downtown, the silly selfies they took on Sunday mornings in bed. She could still hear Mark's laugh. One night, she emailed him. I know I don't deserve anything from you. But I need to say this, you were the best thing in my life. I'm sorry I destroyed it. She didn't expect a reply. But Mark did reply. Short. Clear. Thank you for saying that. I hope you find peace. It made her cry harder than she had in months. Chapter 7, A Different Man. Mark's healing wasn't linear. He had nights where he'd stare at the ceiling until 3 a.m., asking himself what he did wrong. Other times, he'd find Emily's forgotten hair tie in a drawer and feel like someone punched him in the gut. But he was changing. He sold the condo. Too many memories. Moved to a 2-bedroom rental with warm light and fewer ghosts. He joined a running group and started mentoring young attorneys. He even adopted a dog, a shaggy black Labrador mix named Milo, who followed him everywhere. Dating wasn't easy. He had trust issues, obviously. But over time, he met Kara, a pediatric nurse with a kind smile and a quiet sense of humor. She didn't ask too many questions about his past. She just listened. And she didn't need fixing. One Sunday morning, while they walked Milo through the park, she reached for his hand. You look lighter these days, she said. He smiled. I feel it. Chapter 8, Closure. 2 years later. Emily stood outside a bookstore cafe downtown, holding a coffee, when she spotted Mark across the street. He was with Kara. She could tell by the way they walked close, casually, with familiarity and comfort. Milo trotted beside them, tongue out, tail wagging. They looked happy. For a moment, Emily wanted to run across, say hello. Ask how he was. Maybe even apologize again. But she didn't. She just watched. Quietly. Respectfully. Later that night, she journaled about it. Some people are chapters. Mark was my entire first book. I tore out the last pages too soon. But maybe that was my story to live through, so I could finally learn how not to run. Chapter 9, The Letter. A few weeks after that chance sighting, Mark received a letter in the mail. No return address. He recognized the handwriting instantly. Dear Mark. I saw you the other day. You look peaceful. I'm glad. It's taken me a long time to admit that I didn't just cheat on you. I abandoned you. I walked out not because you weren't enough, but because I was too afraid to face the person I had become. You were a mirror I couldn't look into. Jackson was a fantasy. He wasn't real life. Real life was you, holding my hand during my panic attacks, remembering my mom's birthday, making breakfast on Sundays. I confused intensity for intimacy. Thank you for being kind, even when I didn't deserve it. I'll always be rooting for you. M. Mark read it twice. Then once more. He folded it carefully and placed it in a small wooden box on his desk, The one where he kept old photos, his college ring, and letters from his dad before he passed. Not to revisit often, but to remember how far he'd come. Chapter 10: Forgiveness. One winter afternoon, Kara and Mark curled up on the couch while snow flurried outside. "Do you still think about her?" Kara asked softly. He didn't lie. "Sometimes. But not like before. It's more like remembering who I used to be." "And who are you now?" Mark smiled, resting his head against hers. "Someone who learned the difference between being needed and being chosen." Epilogue. Emily eventually moved cities. Started working with a nonprofit that supported women recovering from emotional trauma. She never remarried. But she didn't live in bitterness. She wrote a memoir one day, under a pen name, about betrayal, shame, growth, and forgiveness. It sold modestly. But for her, that wasn't the point. She finally understood what love was supposed to feel like. Even if she never got it back.